continue to pump up their own money supply, and that finds its way into other markets. So valuations therefore will be something which will come up with a lag. So rather than focusing on what the government would do, I think it's far easier to perhaps look at the companies themselves. And now, right now, for example, I would argue look for heavily leveraged companies, because they are the ones that will give you the highest beta on the upside.
Good to hear some skepticism or circumspect talk on a rara morning like this, Anand. Always good, a good dose of caution. But Ramesh, just a quick word from you on the flip side, because a lot of people were lucky enough to get in between the 8 and 10,000 Sensex mark, and many of their stocks would have doubled in value as well in the last 2 months. If they see the index at 14,000-ish in the next few days, do you think it's prudent to take profits once, or do you think you should just stay invested with such an important change which has happened politically?
I mean, it's generally not the way I play the game in terms of timing the market. I mean, I think we burned badly enough by not buying at the, say, 10,000 level on the index. I think you have to wait for events to dictate what to do. I don't think an absolute number is saying the Sensex is at 14,000, so you book profits. Makes a lot of sense to me. I think stocks can outperform from there dramatically. As say Bharti and Hero Honda performed during this run-up. So I don't think that's the correct way to approach the market. Instead of trying to pick the top, you need to find out which is the effective bottom of the market at this point.
Sandeep, where do you stand on that argument? I mean, there is difference of opinion on where this market can go on the upside, but would you say we've seen the worst of the price damage and we've put that behind us?
Well, I think the worst of the price damage is definitely behind us. I would definitely want to book profits if the market goes above 14,500. It would be a good time to book profits if for no other reason is that finally it's cash that matters, as we have always seen. So you can easily raise cash at those kind of indices. Again, as everyone has to highlight that the government has to deliver. The political space is now there. So if they fail to deliver, then these markets will not sustain. So I think we have a 6-month benefit of doubt given to this government. The flows will come through, money will start flowing in, and at 14,500 you can take some money off the table.
Sandeep, from your model portfolio, if you had to pick a couple of financials or a couple of infrastructure plays which are best suited to ride any positive development or action from the government, what would those be?
So if you look at our model portfolio, we like the banking sector. We like State Bank of India and Axis Bank, which are two large names in the banking sector that we like. On the construction side, we like Larsen and Toubro, so that's something which can really benefit. So these are some of the names which can definitely benefit from the kind of theme which will run in the market in the next 6 months.
Ramesh, just to bring in that dose of caution a little bit further, I mean, I heard you mention that you're still not okay with the global backdrop. What's worrying you?
Just look, unemployment in America is 9%, heading higher than that. Exports globally, China, India, US, are in deep trouble. So the global economy is contracting. And the basic problem that what got us into this problem, Mithali, easy money chasing risky and risky assets, moving the prices higher and higher till a non-sustainable level. So the prices came down. And that's exactly what we're doing. So we're doing what we did 2 years ago and expecting to get away scot-free. Life, there's no free lunches in financial markets, and I think what we're trying to do globally is get a free lunch and say everything is okay. Just $65 billion have been raised in the US in the last month. I mean, that's nutty, to use that word, quote unquote. $65 billion, another $30 billion coming in, say in this month. Whether it's banks, whether it's real estate, whether it's auto companies, everyone has been able to raise money. Suddenly the liquidity that had completely dried up is completely back there. And as they say in America, you don't fight the Fed. And we are learning this lesson. But you can't solve the problems of the world of excess money creating problems by doing the same thing again, which is exactly what we're doing. So respectfully, I would suggest the global macroeconomic situation seems very, very serious to me.
Anand, the same question before the market opens. At 14,500, which is your target for this week, would you take profits? And B, do you think 10,000 will be revisited at any point in 2009?
Well, then it's always difficult to put a target because it depends on what else has gone in between. But if it happens in this week, I would certainly put target. And I think yes, 10,000 would be revisited, except that it's again the events will unfold in a manner which are not something which you can foresee today. There has to be some out of the box kind of event that will drive it down, but that can easily happen. Just like the election results came in to make sure that.
Okay, Anand, hold that thought because we need to take a break. When we come back, it's the market opening, perhaps the best opening that you'll ever see. We hope so.
Hold my hand and we'll fly. Watch angels passing by.
Zenith dealer. Take a fresh view of life.
कल एक छछुंदर सा फटफटिया वाला मन ने ओवरटेक करन लग गए। फिर मैं अपने राइडर ने बोलिया,
ओ गरम खून चल गार्डन चलते एक रोमांटिक राइड पे।
अगर 125cc बाइक को 100cc का इंजन ऑयल दोगे तो यही होगा। इसीलिए सैपसॉल 125 प्लस।
Some of them started it very young, some took a while, some were hesitant initially, some of them never wavered, some thought it's risky. Nonetheless, they did it. They chose to believe in themselves. They chose to take their own paths. They chose Dell. Dell, the choice of SMBs.
Lasting relationships are based on transparency, like what Geojit BNB Paribas shares with 4.5 lakh customers. Benefit from transparency.
Fly to Singapore at ₹5,999 only. Log on or call now. Yatra.com, the smarter way to travel.
Welcome back. That's what the SGX is suggesting, and here come our first trades. How long will we trade is the big question. The market will open, but will it open for very long, the way the signals are, or will we be stuck or frozen in circuit seconds after opening? That's the big question. Will the Asian weakness restrain our up move, or is it a done deal, the first circuit up? Will it move? Where will it move from there? 1,300 points higher on the Sensex. We are circuit up straight away. I don't think we need to look at the markets again. We are frozen on circuit. For the first time, I think in our history, we've got a circuit up for our markets. I can't see a Nifty rate out here, but the Sensex is done. The Nifty, 530 points, 15%. Can we get there? I don't know, but it's 15% higher on the Nifty, the first rate where it's opened up at 4,200 Nifty, which means that even if you scale back to 10% up for the first circuit, you're actually looking at 15% higher out here. So the first rate has come in actually at the second circuit, both for the Sensex and for the Nifty. So forget one circuit, 10%, you're starting the day 15% higher for the Nifty, which means even after trade opens, perhaps you could look at the prospect of a 2-hour break because of the 15% circuit getting hit. There's no more trade, of course. It's all shut, and every stock that I can see on the screen has moved up to ridiculous levels. HDFC 20% higher, ICICI Bank 20% higher, L&T 20% higher, DLF 20% higher, Reliance opened 18% higher at 2,300. Of course, picking up RPL with it. Axis Bank 17%, State Bank of India 15%, even TCS. Did we say that technology will not move? Infosys up 15%, TCS up 15%. So today is a broad brush kind of an opening. Straight away off the bat, a circuit up for the market. That's 4,200 Nifty. Yes, I mean, we've never said this ever since this channel started, at least, that we've had an up circuit in the market, but that's where we are. We are frozen up because the Nifty is open 15% and there's no trade right now, of course. The first trade took us to a 1-hour halt. So for the next 1 hour, there will be no trading because of what has happened on the screen. It is 13,500 Sensex straight off the cuff and 4,200. I think it would be instructive to find out what the NSE will do next, because what we are seeing on the screen is a second circuit up. Does it mean we don't trade for 2 hours now, or will it open once after 1 hour and let the second circuit be hit on the Nifty? We don't know, but it looks like we are headed for a 2-hour kind of freeze on the opening for the large caps. Mid caps crazy?
Sweet Lord. First of all, it's okay. We're okay with a 2-hour break when it's of this kind. I don't think the mid-cap index even got a chance to react. The Nifty Junior is up or was up 11% last tick I got, but the mid-caps kind of just stood over there and froze for a second. So everything is up 20% almost. GVK Power and Infra up 20% last tick. ITI, there's been a lot of talk about how some of these chota PSUs might get restructured, etc. So ITI was up circuit. From fertilizer, RCF was up circuit 20%, IFCI was up 20%. This is getting boring almost. Punch Lloyd was up 19%. Not a single stock in the red this morning on the top traded counters by way of volumes, but then we've halted for trade right now. And the last tick that I got on the Nifty Junior was up 10%. Spectacular performance. By the way, there was a big burst of volumes for the futures and option side as well. Just with the opening trade, they did 900 crores flat. So let's see what we do when we open up.
Quite amazing stuff. This is quite amazing. Never seen it. How often do you say that you're seeing something for the first time in a stock market? How often? But today is that kind of morning. The result was surprising over the weekend for sure. And this is not surprising, the reaction, but who would have thought last week that we would go up 15% in 60 seconds of trade? And that's what has happened. This is an endorsement of the market's love for the verdict which has come in over the weekend. The market just loves it. It believes things will be done, and we certainly hope the government picks up this confidence that has been reposed to it by the stock market this morning. There is no ambiguity about the reaction. It's not like 5-6% new buyers came in and then it slowly moved towards 10%. It was 15% up from the word go. That's as big an opening that we have had. So this is a big thumbs up from the market, and it's been the kind of reaction that you would have expected.
And now we get back in the game at 10:55 evidently, but wow.
Wow is the word.
Yeah.
And unexpectedly wow. You know, the result was unexpected, and this was last week everybody was saying, you know, our poll should be drawn up. 80% said we'll be in cash. 25% said we'll be short before the event.
Nobody long.
Zero. Nobody said there will be long before the event, and that's the market for you. If you are not long, you were wrong, and if you were short, you were dead. At least for the day, you are dead. And
I remember discussing on Saturday with some of our research team members about, you know, what would have happened if the counting had happened on a Friday or a Monday, but it doesn't matter, right? What's happening with the global context today? This is ambiguously 2 thumbs up.
Absolutely, and fabulous result. But I still think, Mithali, that a lot of people are feeling bad this morning, you know. But
most are, I think.
Well, not most, but some people for sure. I mean, a lot of people probably got invested, and probably towards the end, you know, I think people are feeling really happy are people who bought post 10,500, because they would have been nervous. I mean, they were coming in late into the rally after missing the first 50-60%, or for the ride from 8,000 to 10,500. That breakout above 3150 Nifty took a while, and a lot of people got in then between 3200 and 3500. I think they are feeling really happy today, because they could have gone wrong. The market could easily have gone back to 3200, but now it's at 4200, and they're saying, you know, we got in late, but thank God we got in. The guys who are really hurting, who are saying that 3700 is the top for this market, it cannot take 3800 out, and therefore we should be booking out, not getting in, and they're feeling lousy, because who knows, maybe the market will make them buy at 42 to 4500. So yeah, a lot of people are feeling pretty bad this morning despite the euphoria.
It also makes you want to pray really hard to the people in Delhi, saying, guys, please, this time round, you know, do something good. We've been on our knees for 2 years.
2?
Yeah, 2.
5, I think. 5.
No, the bear market.
Okay, that. But you know, for the praying for action from the government has been 5 years of a wait. And
yeah, and some.
As somebody said it a few years or months back, that just put a big Nike swoosh outside the parliament right now and say, guys, now you can do it, just do it. Don't make us wait for another year saying, this time we just cobbled a budget together. Next budget we'll do well, because the market's patience will be tested then. It's been 5 long years. Anand Tandon, 14,500 looks like it's going to happen this morning the way it's going. How do you approach it now?
Well, Udayan, if it does happen, you know, like I said, I would take some money off the table, because no matter what, the fact of the matter is that at some stage there is there are other factors other than just liquidity and euphoria which come into play. You will miss some part of the upside perhaps from then on. But frankly, I don't think that it will happen just yet. It will take a couple of days because you need to get real money into the system. As you pointed out, it opened up so much that unless you are already invested in it, you are not really looking at. Nobody fresh could have gotten even half a trade in. So unless the money actually comes in and people do get invested, I think you would find that there has to be some trading which will allow you to do that.
Sandeep, forget about all that. Have you ever seen this before in your lifetime in the stock market, a circuit up?
No, definitely not. It's a great feeling. I don't think it will last for long. I think if the markets continue like this, everyone who has head on his shoulders should be selling out. So I just hope that we come off.
So, what do you tell your clients now, Sandeep? They must be working the phones this morning. They didn't get a look in this morning. When the circuit opens up, and do you buy then after a 10% circuit, or even if it's a 15% circuit, or you say just hold your horses now? We've missed it for the moment. Don't buy after 15%. Let's wait and watch.
No, I don't think there's any sense to chase this market. I have been highlighting that this market will surprise. When I was on your show just 2 weeks ago, I was saying that the market will continue to rally. We do see a lot of flows coming in. I'm saying that the flows this year will continue to surprise. Look, we have to get one thing clear. More than 100% of the global growth in this year will come from emerging markets, which will primarily be in China and India. Next year, more than 50% of the growth will come from the emerging markets. The portfolio now has to be positioned from deflation to reflation, and all the plays that benefit in a reflationary environment have to be in your portfolio. As far as the rest of the world is concerned, I agree with the comments made by other people on this show. I think we are in dire straits across Europe and in the US. And as far as these countries are concerned, it will take maybe 2 years at the very least, if not more than 2 years, maybe 5 to 10 years. I think the global maps are getting redrawn. What the electorate has handed out to the current government is a fantastic once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I just hope we don't blow this away, because there's a lot of things which can be done, which despite the fact that the Congress may not want to do outright privatization, there's a lot of assets that can be sold, and the balance sheet the balance sheet of the government can come into play and create an environment for sustained low interest rates. And this is something which more than anything else will drive consumption, investment demand, and GDP growth and tax revenue buoyancy. So in the next 2 years, if we do the right things in the next 6 to 9 months, we are back to easily 9% growth rates, which is what the market is hoping and betting on. And let's hope that these bets don't fall flat.
Madhu Kela of Reliance Mutual Fund is also with us now. Madhu, put on a smile. Put on a smile, please. At least today you can smile, Madhu.
No, absolutely. It was very difficult defending it at 2600. So I can smile all the way.
Absolutely. So is there life beyond 4200, or would you get cautious like some of our analysts here?
No, I am not cautious at all with them. I think the country is in an inflection point. I think a lot of people will still worry about what happens to global sentiment, and markets may have run up too much. I think this has been an unprecedented verdict. This will give the party the ability to act. I just fear that they should not be slower than what the market is expecting them to do. That's the only thing. But whether they will do it or not, I am extremely confident that they will do it.
Madhu, first good to see a long-term die-hard bull thumping his chest and saying, yes, I'm still positive about the market. Tell the people who doubt the rally why this verdict is equal to good news for the equity market.
See, Vitali, I think the first thing is that as a portfolio manager, what we have learned is whatever is outperforming, the world will get towards that outperformance. So India is going to be one country which in the global world map is likely to outperform. And I don't know, what happens after 2 days or 5 days. This has been an investor's delight, complete delight for an investor who is wanting to invest into India from a 3-5 year perspective, and which is what we have been poaching about. The other thing, I think I've been watching your channel. I expect $50 billion of flow over the next 12 months. And these are not FII flows. Please don't mistake me. Whether it comes through ECB, FCCB, FDI, there will be $50 billion of additional money. And as a capital-starved country, that is what we need. I think once the money comes in, then you will have lower interest rates, then you will be able to build your infrastructure. So only thing is the government should allow a policy framework to attract this money. And considering the crisis which is going around in the world, this is the best time for us to attract this capital.
Madhu, what about the cash which people have been sitting on? Not just mutual funds. I mean,
Yeah, I am one of them, Udyan.
I know, but that is not my question.
And we appreciate your candor as well about that.
My question is not about that. I mean, you talk to a lot of hedge funds, FIIs, HNIs. Do you think now they'll just throw in the towel and come in? I mean, a lot of people were holding out at 3,100, at 3,700. Now, do you think it will be forced to enter the market?
The best comment which I heard in your channel, the left is out and people are left out. So I think then, our job in our business is such that people might be in a denial for some time. The markets have run up too much with 2,600 Nifty is already at 4,000 or 4,100. You will be out of the job if you don't deploy it. Who has seen the market could go 20% and if you continue to remain in cash, you will be out of the job itself. So I am sure, the bigger concern is from the hedge fund side. People who are running 10%, 20%, 30% net long, and people who have left India. If there is a particular hedge fund which is 50% net long India, and there is another hedge fund which is only 10% net long India, he will have no choice but to come and invest.
You will as well, Madhu? Between 42 to 4,500, you will buy the market?
Mitali, as I maintain, our portfolios, we have not changed. We have not changed our style. In a lot of the funds where we need to be invested, we are 80, 85, 90% invested. So, we will get, and I think now is our turn. Now you will see mid-class flying. Now you will see stock ideas flying. I'm sure we'll be able to catch at least a lot of them because of our view that from this inflection point, even if I buy it 10, 20, 30% higher, it doesn't matter because now we are playing really as an investor's delight.
That's an important point, Madhu. I wanted to ask you about that as well because a lot of people will now think that because FII money will now chase performance, you will see the large caps outperforming. But for a portfolio manager like you looking for outperformance, do you think there's better value in the broader market now and you can actually generate good performance by buying those stocks which are still trading at 25% of their peak value?
Precisely, Udyan, I think the biggest performance, if you see, whichever portfolio manager has gone into caution, and I speak to a lot of them, they have reduced the number of stocks. What people have ended up selling up is small cap and mid cap names because obviously everyone was cautious. And in these stocks, as you know, the float is very limited. So that is where I think maximum outperformance is going to come from, which may not be the top 50 companies, but the companies below that, the next 100 companies, where the size is large and the ownership is negligible.
The thing that this keeps coming back to though, Madhu, is the argument about what this past 50-60% on the market looks like. Does it look like the most resounding bear market rally we've ever seen, or have we indeed put the worst behind us and begun a new cycle, which most people are very circumspect to admit to or to agree to? Where do you stand on that?
Now if you see, let's just go back to the bull runs which have happened in the world. Let's just go back for a moment to a Japanese bull run. Between 1973 and 74, Japanese market corrected by 50%, and people thought that the bull run is over. Okay, and after that, the index went up tenfold. Now, I see that is the kind of opportunity which we have for India, that there is so much chaos which is going around in the world, and here is one country where you have a stable government for the next 5 years, and they are committed to providing proper governance. Obviously, we have seen that in the last 5 years. So, what kind of money could you attract? And as I keep saying, if we get capital, then our job is done. I think so. I am in the second camp who believe yes. Mitali, just to put it differently, October Nifty was 38,900. So only 6 months time has passed by. And if you ask too many people what happened in the global crisis in October, were you willing to buy? Most of the people were willing to buy. So it is going to take some time for people to digest whether after such a big rise should we be participating or not. But I think it's a matter of time before people will aggressively participate. And let me make one very important point here. All the people are only talking about the cash which the portfolio managers are holding. What about the cash which Indian public is holding? For last 18 months, we have not seen any inflow from Indian public. And we have seen $300 billion of saving in last 1 year.
Fair point.
What happens to that cash?
That is feeling really lousy, Madhu, much lousier than you are feeling with 15% cash at this point in time. And it will come in, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's what my point is, Udyan. And again, and what we have seen in the last 10 days and what I fear for investors, and which is what I want to communicate through your channel, like what a lot of people are thinking that 2600, now we are at 4000, market is up 50-60%, we did not get a chance to get out, this is our opportunity, golden chance, let's get out. I think some retail investors could commit that mistake. In fact, this is an opportunity. And I'm not saying the market is going to go in a perpendicular manner. You may have some disappointment coming from global cues at some point of time, but every dip is an opportunity to buy from a retail investor point of view.
What themes would you like to back now, Madhu, from here? Would you back banking as the recipient of, or likely recipient of most reforms from the government? Would you back infrastructure? Would you back PSU candidates for divestment? If you wanted to play this government formation and the budget, what would your best bets be?
So I will answer it a little differently, Udyan. I think so much has been talked about in your channel in last 2 days. I don't want to repeat the same thing. So I think I am going to back entrepreneurship all over again. So you have to back bottom-up companies where there is an extremely aggressive, smart entrepreneur who wants to grow. Capital was an unavailability for that person during last 12-24 months. Capital will become available for him. So I think that is the theme number one, that can you really catch a proper entrepreneur? And then obviously if you can get that entrepreneur into growth sectors, whether it is infrastructure, whether it is anything which is likely to do with the domestic story, And now the other point is there is going to be a lot of performance difference between intra-sectors. Like as I said, if I am right that if $50 billion comes into this country in the next 12-18 months, then you are seeing at least 15% appreciation in rupee. So there are a lot of sectors which are going to get hurt because of that. So you will have a differentiated performance, the domestic sectors, and the things which is linked to investment and domestic consumption and infrastructure will all over again do very, very well, while things which are linked to international and rupee appreciation will not do as well, or will do badly rather, relative to the market.
There's still concerns.
So we would like to position ourselves into great entrepreneurs in these sectors which are likely to link to India.
There's still concerns about earnings though, Madhu. I mean, as an event, would you say this is an event that has repriced equity upwards, or are we, stretching the argument over there?
Mitali, earnings will follow. As you have seen last, 2 weeks, 2 real estate companies which are supposed to be in the darkest of the time getting money, ahead of this event, basically. So earnings will follow. Once people get money, once people are able to invest, earnings will follow. We saw that in 2004. A lot of these capital goods companies were trading at 20, 30, 40 P multiple. But as the money started to come in and as they started to invest, earnings followed 1 year or 2 years or 3 years down the line. So what people were focusing till now, including me, we are absolutely part of the crowd this time. What people are focusing as to what is going to happen next month or next 3 months. I think that trajectory is going to change, and people are going to focus now what is going to happen after next 1 year and 3 years. And that is where you see a lot of difference, and you will see people who are skeptic about earnings and immediate earnings, that will wane away as a matter of time.
Madhu, last 6 months to 12 months, a lot of stocks had got derated because of the quality of their balance sheets. They were over leveraged. Access to capital was questioned. You are speaking about $50 billion of global money flow into India. Do you think those stocks could get re-rated now?
Yes. And again, Udayan, you know, we talk about, I spoke to you about this in your channel last time. You know, corporate governance is only talked or only practiced in bear markets. You know, in bull market, people want to focus performance and momentum. So a lot of these companies which did not get capital in that bear market phase will end up getting capital. However, I would like to put a word of caution. There is still a lot of good quality which is available. So we would definitely like to invest in that good quality which is backed by strong entrepreneurship.
The circuit halted us at 13.5, Madhu. A lot of people's year-end target is 15,000 on the Sensex. Give me your range for the market.
Mitali, I may sound over jubilant. I don't have a time frame, but my target is a new high in Nifty. Basically, whether it happens in 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, I don't really care. I think all these targets will get revised upward.
You think sub 10,000 levels in the Sensex are history, Madhu? We won't retest, go back to those kind of levels? We'll form a bottom above that?
As a matter of caution, I may just want to put out that there are only two things which can change that, Udayan. One is that there is another catastrophe in the world, in which case obviously we are going to be part of the world for that time frame. And second, the government reaction to reform and progress is far slower than what the world is expecting.
Okay, Madhu, we're going to leave it there. Always good speaking with you. Great to hear so much optimism this morning on a circuit day, up circuit day, I should say. That's Madhu Kela of Reliance Mutual Fund. They're going to be buying, they say, over the next couple of days.
Yep, just to remind you that we are not discussing the market because it traded for about 30 seconds this morning. There was one gap up opening and that was it to take it to 4200 Nifty and the Sensex 1300.
By the way, the SGX CNX Nifty May is now up 15%.
Well, it's tracking the cash out here underlying, that's at 4200 as well. So the exchanges are discussing whether this needs to be a 1 hour halt or a 2 hour halt because the Nifty went up 15%. You will remember that the 15% is the second circuit after 10%. Trade gets halted for an hour and then you get to that 15% circuit. But today we straight away jumped to 15% on the Nifty and the BSE and the NSE are conferring on whether they need to halt trade for a couple of hours. Either way, we're going to keep talking about where this market is headed after the fabulous event of the weekend. We'll get you voices after the break. Madhu Kela just with us. Shankar Sharma joins in after the break.
Please welcome.
No certificate of authenticity?
Please welcome. Please welcome.
COA के बिना आपकी दुनिया झूठी लग सकती है। जब हर चीज में आपने स्टैंडर्ड का ख्याल रखा है, तो कंप्यूटर सॉफ्टवेयर में क्यों नहीं? भरोसा खरीदिए, ओरिजिनल माइक्रोसॉफ्ट सॉफ्टवेयर अपनाइए। SMS COAPC to 58888।
इंडिया को चाहिए आज सब कुछ लाइटनिंग फास्ट। लाइटनिंग फास्ट फूड, lightning fast transport, lightning fast cash, lightning fast 2020 और तो और शॉपिंग भी lightning fast। और अब ऐसे ही इंडिया के लिए आ गया है BSNL 3G जिससे मिलेंगे lightning fast वीडियो कॉलिंग, लाइव टीवी, गेमिंग, मूवी और म्यूजिक डाउनलोड, इंटरनेट ब्राउजिंग और बहुत कुछ। ऑल दीज एट रियली अफोर्डेबल प्राइसेस। अब इंडिया बनेगा lightning fast।
Make work fun. Take a midday break.
ओके, एयर की स्पेलिंग?
PSPO सर। PSPO।
तुम बताओ।
PSPO।
तुम भी कोने में जाके खड़े हो जाओ, गर्मी लगेगी तब पता चलेगा।
हमारे क्लास में कोने में भी हवा आती है। PSPO सर।
अपना ओरिएंट PSPO, कोने में ज्यादा हवा।
एक नोबडी के लिए दिलों के बादशाह के लिए, लिंक पेन्स जिंदगी के लिए।
Welcome back. Market still frozen in up circuit. That's where it opened and that's where it is right now. Till 10:55 there will be no trade. Whether it's till 11:55 we don't know, because it could be a 1 hour break or it could be a 2 hour break, because we are up 15%. But it's the first ever up circuit for this market. Big thumbs up to the event which has happened over the weekend. Shankar Sharma, First Global, now joins us to talk about this event and where it could lead the market. Shankar, morning. Thanks for joining in. How big an event is this for the stock market in your eyes?
You know, I really don't care whether it's a big event for the stock market, because today I just want to talk the politics. And, you know, we talk markets 365 days a year. We get to talk politics once every 5 years. I think this is an absolutely amazing set of results, and it lays a foundation for a very, very different India 5, 10, 20 years from now. I mean, that's really the central thing that, you know, I'm focused on. It's a vote for peace, it's a vote for stability, it's a vote against hate-based politics, it's a vote against divisive politics, it's a vote for the poor, it's a vote for the rich, it's a vote for the urban dweller, it's a vote for the rural dweller, it's a vote for Hindus, it's a vote for Muslims. It is just an amazing verdict, and it's my belief and my prediction, and you can note it down. My prediction before the election results were declared was that the Congress would get 165, 170 seats. UPA would get through, you know, reasonably comfortably. But more importantly, my prediction was that give it 2 elections, and the BJP will come down to 40 to 60 seats. That is my long-term prediction on the politics of this country. So the long-term projections on the Sensex, etc., are secondary to me at the present moment. It's my belief that this is a huge pendulum swing in the favor of the Congress that you're seeing. They have absolutely the right set of leaders to take the country forward. Rahul Gandhi's whole initiative to bring in youth into politics, I say, is as relevant, as significant as Rajiv Gandhi's policy of liberalizing IT industry, opening up telecom, the small car Maruti, you know, that was fructified under his watch. All those things were game changers for the India 20 years later. India became a force to reckon with in the world because of IT. Telecoms, Bharti goes to, you know, 10 crore subscribers. All the result of those policies in 1984-85. I think, you know, what you're going to see now is 20 years later, you know, our children will look back and say that this was the ultimate game changer, on par with what happened in 84-85, what happened in 91-92, when Manmohan Singh became the finance minister of India.
Shankar, morning. So is it a vote for an economy that will rebound faster than any of us expected on Friday?
You know, the thing is, you know, I was telling somebody over the weekend that, you know, it's like getting the news if you're a cricket player that you've been selected to play for India in Test. What do you do then? If I were that player, I'd go out and really celebrate that particular moment, rather than start to worry about how am I going to handle Brett Lee or how am I going to handle, you know, Steve Harmison, because, you know, that takes the edge off the whole event. Those will be tough battles to fight. Nobody's going to give you an easy time when you're out there playing Test cricket. But if you start worrying too much about that, you lose the fun of the moment. I think we should simply enjoy the fun of the moment. That's really the all-important thing. Live today, live the weekend. Rather start worrying about the fiscal deficit and the global slowdown and our export growth and the IIP. Those problems have not gone away. I think we have better tools now to handle those problems than we had on last Friday. Without the left, I think the Congress is a very, very strongly pro-reform party, and which is why I always say that I don't know from where people get the notion that the NDA was the reform and Congress was sort of anti-reform. The NDA built a few more roads. I mean, let's grant them that. But other than that, the big path-breaking reforms in India, starting from Pandit Nehru's time of building a huge public sector, which was a drain for a number of years, but today a large part of the wealth in the markets has been created because of the listing of the PSUs over the last 15 years. So the Congress is a very, very pro-reform party. It has great leadership right at the top, clean government, clean leadership, good governance. And now with Rahul Gandhi, you know, you will have a huge, incorruptible second tier of future leaders. You know, I think, you know, you will see very, very good reforms. Given the constraints of the fiscal situation and the other situations, it may not be absolutely big bang, but let's just hope for the best.
I go back to my earlier question, Shankar. You've explained how politically significant this could be, but could it be a game changer for the market as well? Do you think such a political result can lead to India coming out of the bear market?
It could. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually did actually play out that way. I remember the verdict that Rajiv Gandhi got in '85. And I remember how bullish the markets were, in '85 and '86. They were just amazing markets. So, the euphoria of getting a good mandate-led government, can do very strange things to the market. So, a bull market will be born once we take out the old highs. That, let's face it, I don't think is going to happen in the next 3 months' time. It could happen maybe in the next 2 years' time, because there will be a lot of challenges along the way. We are not out of the woods on the pure fundamentals. But yes, we have got a huge chance at getting out of the woods. We've got a huge shot in the arm. So if anything, we have now more ammo. I think, let's just enjoy the moment. Let's enjoy a huge pop of 20, 30%, 40% perhaps in the next 2 or 3 months' time. Then we will regroup and we'll reassess what's to be done. But yes, this does give us a chance to climb our way somewhat out of the bear market. We'll see whether it takes us completely away into a bull market territory. That's still some distance away.
Trading halted at 13.5 this morning, Shankar. You're saying 40% above that?
Why not? I mean, momentum and euphoria are, great things. They can do strange things to valuations. I mean, I don't think India is cheap. If you look at stocks like Reliance or HDFC or even Larsen & Toubro or BHEL, they are not cheap stocks by any stretch of imagination. They were not cheap on Friday. And you add another 20% on top of that, and maybe another 20% even on top of that, you're talking multiples which are now into the mid-20s, even high 20s for some. That's not going to give a lot of comfort to people who look at stuff like valuation. But on the other hand, if you're looking at pure momentum, this could still be a reasonably strong market. Notwithstanding global cues, which, when I last checked this morning, they were still pretty negative.
So, Shankar, would it be prudent to buy in now, hoping that even if there's a pullback, the whole range for the market has shifted up now from the earlier kind of range pre-election result?
I'm not a big believer in just sort of buying in when it's up 30%. By nature, I tend to be more cautious, on these things. But for a long-only fund, they have very little option. They have to go in. For hedge funds chasing performance, they have very little option but to go in. But a guy on the street, he probably has some mutual funds. He has a few stocks. He should simply remain there till such time that we begin to see enough signs on the other side of that, which is that the global economy is worsening more rapidly, or that our numbers come out much worse. So, let's say the market runs to 40%, and then you get a terrible set of numbers, whether from India or globally, and the market sell off 5% from there. That at least this part of the move is then over. So you have some time to take money off the table. Probably not just yet. You can probably ride it for a little while.
But do you think India can outperform because of what has happened over the weekend, and money flows might actually come in more to this part of the world because of the conviction that medium term the shape is changing?
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be a reasonable call to make, that India's problems have been largely political. The macro part also suffers because of the politics. In coalition politics, pure coalition politics, it becomes very difficult for the Prime Minister to impose certain performance parameters and guidelines on the individual ministers who are not part of the sort of the large party. So it's not like a class monitor who can dictate terms and conditions to various parts of the class. The Prime Minister in a coalition is really nothing but a, he's like just a broad father figure. But if from a coalition partner the minister is not doing a good job, there's very little the Prime Minister can do. Now, fortunately, you can hold ministers to strict accountability. And by whatever I have read in the papers and seen on television, the Congress is pushing even the coalition partners, whose bargaining power is a lot lower. The Congress is pushing them to bring and nominate younger leaders rather than the old fossils. So even from the Congress, the fossils will probably get less of a chance. The younger generation will get more of a chance. And because of the strength of the government, of the Congress, they can push even the coalition partners to give them better ministers, rather than the old fogies the last time. And the other very significant thing I must add is that in Bihar and in UP, whatever the stats was, that none of the contestants with criminal backgrounds got elected. I'm telling you, this is not just about the stock market. The electorate this time has given just a very intelligent verdict. So no Taslimuddin, no Shahabuddin, no various Singhs and Yadavs who were running around with rape cases and murder charges on them have gotten elected. That's just an amazing statistic, that the voter is not as dumb. He gave everybody a chance. Now he's decided that I want to go in favor of an all-inclusive party. And that, I think, is even more significant than a 20% pop in the markets.
Absolutely, that's spectacular stuff actually. Last we spoke, Shankar, you made the point that you weren't completely confident about the fact that the market may have put the worst behind it, i.e. that it will not return to the bottoms that it saw earlier. Do you see that happening? Barring an October-like situation, do you see that the market may have put the worst behind it?
Look, the further you get away from the lows, the less the probability. I mean, that's commonsensical to say. India may well have done that, given that, I think the government's first 100 days usually are, especially not hobbled with the left, they will do a lot of at least the headline announcements will be quite positive. So in that context, the markets have more bias to trade upward rather than downward. But, I don't want to really think that far out just yet, whether all bottoms are in place or that even a near retest of the bottom is completely off the table. I think the probabilities have diminished over the weekend dramatically, without any doubt. Anybody